What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're in for a good little story. All right. This one actually came at a request, or I shouldn't say in one of the comments. Jesse 049. Jesse 049, what's happening out there? He asked me a question in the comments. Did I ever see a prisoner and an officer have a fight with one another with a mutual understanding that there would be no repercussions? And yes, I did see that. It was a very good question and a good request, and I'm going to tell you that story. It won't be a long story, but that's the way the old timers used to take care of it in the old days. If they had a problem, they would knuckle up, get into a fight, no repercussions. So let me tell you about what happened. This happened in Attica Correctional Facility. I was on 42 Company, and there was myself in the cell. There was a individual named Shah, and then my buddy Sharif on the other side. I just had Sharif on another video recently. Anyway, the dude Shah that was in between Sharif and I, he was in the cell in between Sharif and I. He was a delusional dude, and his delusions were scary because the dude was very physically fit. He was a big dude. He was really physically fit. He was in great shape, a black guy named Shah. And he was delusional. And he used to think that the mailman was giving me his mail all the time, right? And before I continue with the story, allow me to say this very important fact is that these are the type of individuals you will have to deal with. God forbid you get incarcerated. You would have to deal with individuals who are delusional. You have to deal with individuals who have mental health problems, and they're big and they're strong and they have low IQs, and it's a scary situation. So this dude Shah thinks that the mailman is giving me his mail because I used to get a lot of mail. So the mailman would come around to deliver the mail, and then Shah would bang on my wall and be like, "Yo, Fish," and aggressively, not nicely. He'd be like, "Yo, Fish, I know the mailman gave you my mail. Give me that mail, man. I want some of the mail." And I would tell him, "Shah, you're out of your mind. I don't have nothing that belongs to you. Stop knocking on my wall. You understand me? I know you got," and then he would bang on Sharif's wall. "I know you got my mail, man. Give me the mail." And this would transpire. The guy wouldn't do it for a couple of weeks. Then he would start it again. And then he wouldn't do it for a couple of days. And then he would start it again. And I started to talk with Sharif and explain to my buddy Sharif. I said, "Yo, I'm going to have to take this dude out." You know what I mean? Because he's making me very uneasy. He's making me uncomfortable. And like I said, he's a big, strong, delusional guy. And before he really believes that the mailman is giving me his mail. If he really believes that, he might try and make a move on me. And before he does that, I'm going to take him out. And it was getting really close to that. You know, you try to avoid that situation because I know it's going to result in me going to solitary. I know it's going to result in me getting more time on my sentence, right? So you try to avoid the situation. But the dude was pushing it so much. The dude Shah was pushing it so much. I figured I was going to have to eventually do something about it. But and he used to curse out the mailman when he used to come around. Every time the mailman would come around, even if he didn't give me mail, the mailman would walk by Shah's cell, and Shah would be like, "I saw the handwriting on the envelope. I know that envelope is for me. Give me that mail. I want the mail." And the mailman used to come back to his cell and tell him, "Yo, watch your mouth. Stop yelling at me like that. Don't curse at me like that." And he used to curse out the mailman on a regular basis too, right? The truth is Shah wasn't getting no mail. Nobody wasn't writing Shah a letter. Nobody wasn't. This mailman was actually a decent officer. He was one of the officers that never messed with anyone. I was with him for years. All the prisoners, liked this officer. He wouldn't purposely do anything wrong to anyone. That wasn't his style, right? And Shah used to curse him out all the time. So finally the mailman warned him. And the mailman was like, "Yo, next time you open your mouth to me and next time you accuse me of stealing your mail," he says, "I'm going to take you out of the cell and kick the shit out of you." And they're beefing back and forth. And it didn't happen much longer. It wasn't much time passed where the mailman was walking and Shah started screaming at him, "Yo, I want my mail. Give me my mail." And the mailman put all the mail down on the floor, took off his uniform, took off his shirt, hung it on the bars right there. And he told Shah, "You're going to come out of the cell and we're going to fight right now, man to man." And Shah was ready. He was like, "You open the cell. Let's do this right now." And the mailman said, "That's it. Let's do it." Right. And so he had the other officer all by himself. This officer was Jack too. This officer was big. He was just as big and looked just as strong as Shah, as the prisoner. And this is happening right in front of myself. And me and Sharif are getting to watch this whole thing. Everyone on the company, all 50, 60 prisoners on the company get to watch this unfold, and we're all locked in our cells. And the officer has the other officer crack his cell open. He tells him, "Crack 50 cell." And Shah comes out, and these two guys start brawling. And I'm talking about they're going at it. Boom, 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 boom. Bloody noses, busted up eyes. They end up on the floor rolling around. And I have to say, it was like a 50-50 fight. These guys were tough, man. These guys were really going at it, and they were going at it for a few minutes. And anybody that knows that a few minutes is a long fight. It's a literal 4, 5, 6, 7-minute long fight. Not 30 seconds. And it ended where I have to say the officer ended up getting the best of Shah. Shah was holding his own, though. He was holding his own real good. He was doing good in the beginning of the fight. But finally, the officer got him down on the ground and had his head stuffed under like these heating pipes, man. And, cracked his head off the floor a couple times, man. It was a bad fight, a bad bloody fight. I can't say it enough. But when it was all done, when it was all finished, they both were standing on their feet. They were licking their wounds. And the officer looked at him and said, "You want to go to the infirmary?" And Shah was like, "Nope." He said, "Then go back in your cell and lock the door, right? Don't ever accuse me of taking your mail again." And Shah went in his cell. He told the officer, "Lock his cell." The cell door shut, boom, and that was a wrap. There were no repercussions, right? And Shah didn't get a misbehavior report. He didn't get a ticket. He didn't get in trouble. He was allowed out of his cell that night. He never accused the mailman of taking mail ever again. I have to say that. The strategy worked, and they handled the situation like men. That officer, the mailman, got a tremendous amount of respect from all the other prisoners for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, they knew that mailman, that officer, would handle his business. He wasn't hesitant about handling his business. And two, they had a lot of respect for that officer because he never bothered anyone to begin with. He was just a quiet officer that used to walk around delivering the mail. That was his job. He didn't say crap to anyone. And so that was a situation, Jesse, where I saw an officer and a prisoner go at it with no repercussions whatsoever, like they did in the old days. And that's my short story of the day about the mailman and the prisoner who went toe to toe.